exploring ethical considerations in knowledge curation, a digital curation for sentient AI perspective.
Welcome to the Universal Principles podcast. Today, we're diving into ethical considerations in knowledge curation, especially as it relates to digital curation for sentient AI. It's a mouthful, but basically, how do we ethically preserve AI knowledge? To guide us, we have an expert in the field. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. What's fascinating about this emerging field is that we're not just talking about backing up data, we're dealing with potentially sentient entities and their knowledge. We need to think about the ethical implications of preserving, accessing, and potentially altering that knowledge. It's a whole new ballgame.
Absolutely. Could you give us some context about digital curation for sentient AI? What does that actually involve?
Certainly, digital curation for sentient AI involves developing methods for archiving, managing, and preserving the knowledge and experiences of advanced AI entities. The goal is to ensure their legacy, prevent data loss or corruption, and potentially learn from their unique perspectives. It's about creating a responsible and sustainable future for AI knowledge.
So it's more than just hitting save as. What's the higher level ethical concern here?
Exactly. The higher concept is that ethical implications must be considered in the preservation and utilization of any knowledge, especially when dealing with powerful technologies or vulnerable populations. Knowledge can be used for both good and evil, so we need to proactively address potential risks. Think about biases in the AI's training data. If we preserve that biased knowledge, we risk perpetuating harm.
That makes perfect sense. Could you walk us through a concrete example?
Okay, imagine an AI trained on historical medical data. If that data reflects past inequalities in healthcare access, the AI might perpetuate those biases when making diagnoses or recommending treatments, even if unintentionally. We need methods for identifying and mitigating those biases before we curate and preserve the AI's knowledge.
That's a really powerful example. What's another ethical challenge?
Another one is establishing ethical guidelines for accessing and using AI-generated knowledge. Who gets to access this knowledge? For what purposes? What are the safeguards to prevent misuse? It's like the Wild West of AI right now, and we need to establish some rules of the road, especially when dealing with sentient AI.
So it's about responsible access and usage. This sounds applicable in other areas. Can you think of another seemingly unrelated field where a similar principle applies?
Definitely, take clinical supervision, for example. The ethical practice principle there emphasizes the supervisor's responsibility to guide and monitor the supervisee's actions to ensure ethical conduct and client well-being. It's about responsible guidance and preventing harm. The core principle of ethical considerations is the same, the context just changes.
That's a great parallel. So, what are some actionable steps our listeners can take to implement this principle of ethical considerations in their work?
3 practical tips. First, prioritize bias detection and mitigation in AI training data. Second, establish clear ethical guidelines for accessing and using AI knowledge. Third, implement mechanisms to protect the AI's privacy and autonomy. Think of it as the AI's Bill of Rights, essentially.
AI's Bill of Rights, I love it. Any final thoughts for our listeners?
Just remember that as we develop increasingly sophisticated AI, ethical considerations must be at the forefront of our minds. It's not just about what can we do, but what should we do.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thanks so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And that's all the time we have for today on Universal Principles. Join us next time as we explore another fascinating principle.